Hey, so we're all ready. Welcome to BSB TV this morning. I'm really excited today to be talking about what we're going to talk about next week. It kind of feels like Hamish and Andy. They always talk about what they're going to do rather than actually telling you what they're... Anyway, so I've got Karina Lindsay. How are you, Karina?
Awesome. Absolutely awesome.
That is fantastic. Michael, how are you?
Very well, Kevin. Thank you.
And thank you for being the earliest on the show this morning and being ready. Coach Curl, how are you today, mate?
I am fantastic as always, Kev, and I can see that you are looking sharp as a tack on this Friday morning. So it's always good to be here.
How's Radelaide?
It's beautiful. It's the weather is sensational and it's stunning. I've got a workshop down here today, and more exciting than that is that I'm going to the Adelaide Oval and I'm going to see the Bradman Museum, and it's a full day planned. I'm really excited. So it's great.
It's funny how South Australia afterwards have embraced him, but we'll talk about that a whole nother day. Today we're going to talk about growth, leadership, strategy and culture. And I want to talk just generically and just have a quick conversation amongst ourselves, because we've all got slightly different interpretations about how we grow. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you, what do you think is the most important ingredient in growing your business? And whether that is growing your business to get a more consistent workflow, or whether that is growing your business, adding staff, or whether it's gaining scalability, whatever it is, what's the one thing that you believe is most critical? So I'm going to start. I'm going to put you in the middle this time, Karina. Michael, what do you think is the most important thing? That was for you, Michael.
Oh, was it me? Sorry, I thought you said Karina. So, from my point of view, it's creating a culture of winning conditions between all the aspects of the business and all the people and stakeholders. And that involves all three aspects we're talking about today, including strategy, leadership, and culture.
Excellent, excellent. Now, Karina, for you take a slightly different approach.
Yeah, I believe that they're all components of it, but we need to look at everything holistically and not, yes, they're all parts of it, but we need to look at the whole picture and have a clear plan of what the whole picture looks like. So sometimes you're doing multiple things at the same time, but you need to build that up and make sure that it all fits in. And yes, I agree with the culture, but is it culture by itself is not going to have a successful business? You need to look at it more of a holistic approach.
Absolutely. So, and Tony, you've got another slightly different.
Yeah, I think the one thing about business growth, the one thing is that there's more than one thing. I think that's always exciting to understand. But from my mind, it always begins with us as a leader. It always begins with our own self-development. As we develop ourselves as a leader, we get to see bigger, we get to see larger, we get to see more in the future. We get that greater awareness of our own understanding of where we need to grow. So while there's more than one thing, and there will always be more than one thing to grow, the key for me is that it always starts with us individually and the development of ourselves to raise our leadership, what we would call our leadership lid.
Absolutely. And a really cool part of this, and I'm going to add my 2 cents in, because, hey, I'm even doing a presentation next Tuesday. I'm going to tell people about how we grew Brisbane Small Business and how it became what it is today, which is pretty cool. For me, it's all about purpose. Okay, so if you're true to your purpose and stay true to that through the different phases of growth, and it is about culture, it is about education, it is about leadership, it's all about all of those things. If we look at nature, a tree doesn't just decide to grow up tall and then branch out. It typically grows out and up at the same time. So absolutely three-dimensional. And so that's my focus, is making sure that your purpose is absolutely true and in line with your purpose. So I know that the alignment side of it, Michael, is something that you're very passionate about.
Yeah, so focus on one thing, but I guess I agree with everything that all four of us have said. it's really creating a harmony of all those aspects, and personal development, leadership, growth, training, and a holistic view at how the business is run. So I think we're off to a great start.
Cool. Now, Karina, you're kind of similar to Brisbane Small Business in that it's not about you, it's about what I could only describe as a small army of consultants that you have there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's every business needs something different at various points. Is that I believe you need to be looking at your business like, here's your business, what's your fortress of protection you're putting around your business. Even how you grow it, how big you've got to grow, what it actually needs. It needs a bit of structure. You can't just be, oh, I'll take this bit and I'll take that bit. It's a bit like having a couple of bricks together, just sitting there, but they're not really in a structure. So it's putting a bit more infrastructure on it. So part of what we believe is that you need, when you build a fortress or a building, you need more than a plumber, you need a carpenter, an electrician, and at various stages you bring in different people. But there's always one maestro or one master architect who knows what you're building, and then you pull in, they orchestrate what you need at various points of view. And so for us, it's about looking holistically at a business and saying, well, what is your need? Yes, you've got to train the owners, but you've got to train your leaders, you've got to train the staff. What is it you're training them in? You've got compliance stuff. You've also got essential growth stuff. What is it you're wanting to do? This morning I was talking to a manager over in the Caribbean, and what they were talking about is they want to do sales training for their staff. But we had to, when we really dug into it a bit, we have to take it back a step, is the staff need to value themselves first. And why should they do sales training? It's because they'll make more money, but they don't understand that. They've got the wrong mentality. So we ended up putting in a couple of extra courses first before we get to the sales training. And this is when because we've got such a great diverse team, we can pull in different people at different times to help them design what they need for their business.
And you even shared with us today that you're actually doing some work in Trinidad.
Yeah,
not
Trinidad.
Tobago, just Trinidad. So so that Trinidad, the Trinidad and Tobago Trinidad, which is bloody exciting. So congratulations on that. Coach Curl, you're down in Adelaide today.
Yep.
So it's lovely to see that the reach of the Brisbane small business community is worldwide, it is Australia-wide, it is all over the place. So what do you think is the importance if you want to grow your business? How do you go about growing your business nationally or internationally? And I'll ask you, Tony, what's your take?
To build your business, and I agree with what Karina was saying about foundations, because foundations are really, really important when you develop your own leadership and you develop your business. But one of the key areas of growth comes when people trust you and see you as an authority. And I know, Kevin, you are huge on the word trust and the building and development of trust. And it is absolutely critical. And we were talking just the other day, Kev, that everything that's great in your life at the moment has been built on trust. And I would challenge each and every person out there to think about or reflect on the things that are great in your life. And if it hasn't been built on trust, I would be incredibly surprised. So I think when we're talking about growth, especially when you talk about Karina doing work in the Caribbean and you know, I'm lucky enough to be here in Adelaide running a workshop today, it's really good. That comes about because people trust us to do the job. And it doesn't matter where you are. And you can be based anywhere. If people are going to trust you to deliver, help them deliver better outcomes and better results, you will get work from all around the world. And, you know, one of the key aspects where I'm seeing my growth coming from, Kevin, is my Today's Leader podcast. And I interview leaders from all around the world on that podcast, which helps broaden that reach for me. And delivering what I would see as a quality product in that space helps me be seen as an authority in that space. So trust is critical if you're wanting to grow your business everywhere. So people need to be able to trust you to deliver better outcomes and positive results.
Fantastic. And if I'm reflecting on those three things, it is definitely about that harmony and that alignment of, aligning your purpose with your values, with your actions. Absolutely. And that's very much what I believe. In Brisbane Small Business, we do have a set of rules that we go by. One of them that we should make more clear is don't abuse admin. But we'll go on to that another day. We're doing the best we can to promote small business, but that doesn't mean we want to have ads in the group, because as soon as we start having the group overrun with ads, we get less engagement because people just pop in, throw an ad up and run away again, and nobody is actually looking at the conversation that's there. So we have rules around why we do things. We understand why we do things, and I guess sometimes because we're stuck in the doing, we forget to be able to do that. And it is, for me, coming back to that purpose, knowing that purpose first, and then putting the values in place, the stuff that's important, absolutely having that run your business. And that's what we do. And that's what's going to build your trust, because it is about getting a really clear picture of what you're doing, then, working out the processes and the systems and things that are going to be involved. And then it's about performance and how you do that in action. So it's picture, process, performance. That's the model that I've built Brisbane Small Business on. And that very much aligns with what all of us are saying here today. So although we've got slightly different angles for how we talk about growing your business and leadership, and building trust, we are all about that building trust scenario. And that's a great quote by Coach Curl. Everything that's great in your life is built on the foundation of trust. So awesome quote, mate. I do believe that's been quoted around the world.
It's had some viral stuff happen with it. So yeah, but it's so simple. It really, and it just struck me one day. I was running a workshop back in 2013, and it just sort of slipped out. And sometimes you don't realize what you say when you say it. And everyone in the group said, "Wow!" And the other trainer I was with, she said, "Can I write that down?" And I'm thinking, "Oh, okay, if I said something magical then." So yeah, it's sometimes we don't give ourselves credit. So it is a great quote, but it's true. That's the reason why. Whether it's your family, your relationships, your partner, your business, your career, if it's great, it's been built because there's trust there. So
fantastic. So one last thing from each of you about what people are going to take away when they leave your program next week. So I'm on Tuesday, so I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share exactly how I built Brisbane Small Business. If you want to find out how we've done that, if you have plans of doing something similar, hey, the more the merrier. As long as you're true to your purpose. Who's on Wednesday? Please put up your hand. I think it's you, Coach Curl.
Yes, I think it's me. And
it is you, definitely. I'm looking at my spreadsheet now. It is you.
So I better not forget that, hey, Kev. Yeah, so what we'll be doing next week is we'll be working through what, fundamentally is the 5 levels of leadership in a different sort of a slant. We're going to focus in on the first 2 levels of leadership, and we're going to look at the 5 key development areas that I see to become a better leader, and to help you move from that positional leadership where people follow you because they have to. You're the boss, you're the manager, you're the designated leader, for want of another word, to moving to that permission level, which is level number 2, whereas people are starting to follow you because they want to, because of who you are, and the respect that they have. So we'll be looking and diving into those 5 key areas that I see as critical for leadership in 2021.
Absolutely. Now, Karina, I know that you are Thursday.
I'm Thursday, yes. Yes, so I'll be talking about the ways that you protect your business while you grow your business. And what we'll be doing is having a quick, enabling you to create a quick snapshot of how strong a fortress you have around your business, or whether you've just got a bit of rubble.
And you do a little bit of help people do self-analysis on what are their weak links and identifying them, so they can choose to work on the stuff that is probably that's holding them back. So fantastic. Michael, now you're on Friday. It's always a tough gig on Friday because it's the end of the week and people are kind of get over it by then, even though it's only a short week again. Hooray for the last short week for a while. What are people going to leave with when they have watched your program?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Well, first of all, this Friday, as you know, I start my days with a glass of champagne, so that should be a great draw card for getting into the weekend. But what I'm talking about is creating a culture of winning conditions in business, so we can create harmony and create growth. So what people leave with is a credible path to double their business results in 6 months. My one KPI approach teaches that. Now, I've been a guy, I've started out from school with nothing and went to a company that went from $100 million to over $1 billion, and I was the CFO, growing that company over 15 years, where we doubled in size. So I've learned a few things about growing a business, and it's all the aspects that we talked about. And for the participants to my workshop, they can try and find out what's the best fit for their business, because every business needs different things. So that's what I'll be talking about on Friday. Thanks.
Fantastic. So I'm going to encourage you to have a virtual glass of champagne with everyone. Everyone have a real one, but do it all virtually and cheers together. For Michael's presentation, I'm going to turn up with a glass of champagne. I'm ready for it. Might even do that now. Thanks a lot for helping us find out what is on next week. I really, I've enjoyed everything that we've been doing in the whole Reboot campaign so far. We are going to simplify it. We're getting better solutions for how people can purchase stuff. But at the moment, all you got to do is register for any event. It's all free. So come along, join Reboot. Literally just go to welovebusiness.com.au and you can do that, or any links to any particular webinar. If you click on that, that will have you automatically joining that particular show and the entire program. So let's just keep learning and growing and challenging ourselves to be a better version than we were this time last year. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your help.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kev.
And if I can ever find my mouse and where I am.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, guys.